Thank you for joining us for this episode of That Solo Life, the podcast for PR pros and marketers who work for themselves. People like me, Michelle Kane with Voice Matters, and my wonderful co-host, Karen Swim of Solo PR Pro. Hey, Karen, how are you today?
Hello, Michelle. I'm doing great, fighting the good fight.
Good.
How are you?
Yeah, same. I apologize to our listeners for how I sound. I thought I was so smart in hiring a landscaper this spring. And then I decided there was one remaining flower bed I could do myself. And then all the little spores and pollen are just having a party throughout my sinuses. It's great, but it could be worse. So,
Thank you so much for carrying on because
oh
I know
yeah,
that, those allergy attacks can be pretty terrible. So we
delight.
appreciate you, Michelle.
I am a walking pharmacy, but we wanted to come to you today to talk about measurement, but maybe not the way you're thinking. So
Yeah.
often we talk about the importance of measurement in our client work, which is true, and it is still important. And we're probably going to touch a little bit on that. But what about measuring your tactics in your own business, in your promotion, in what you're focusing on? We just wanted to take a little bit of time and just remind ourselves that that too is an important endeavor for our success.
Yeah, I'm always surprised when PR pros are not taking this extra step. But again, it's our nature to be so client focused and really wanting to deliver value to our clients and service that we often don't think about our own businesses and things that we should be tracking. We even some of the basic things like looking at your financial metrics so that you can determine where that sweet spot is for you, like which clients which types of clients and which types of work give you the highest return on value. So how are you spending your time? So where is that sweet spot where you're spending the right amount of hours, you're getting the right dollar value for it, and it's, a fit in other ways for your business. I mean, we don't think about that. Those are things that you actually can track so that you can hone in on your business development and attract more of those types of clients.
Yeah. And I think a key component of that can be, sometimes we may love the clients, we may enjoy the work, but sometimes some client work is just draining, or I don't know if a hassle is a good way of putting it,
Yes.
but it just seems to be a lot more effort than it should be. Not necessarily on a constant basis, but I think we all know we've been through that. It's like, oh, this pays well, but oh my gosh, is this worth it to me? Do I need to look at replacing them? So maybe it'll be smoother sailing.
And sometimes being paid well is you can think that because you're focused on the amount of the engagement rather than the hours and then tracking how much time you're actually spending servicing that client against what you're getting paid. So
Yes.
sometimes when you do that breakdown, like you may look at how much time are you spending in an administrative task? If that is exponentially higher than other clients that maybe have a little bit lower of a bill rate, then in reality, you are not getting paid as much as you think you are. So, I do think it's important to keep track of your time for that reason so that you can see how it's being applied. That also helps you to look at efficiencies in your own system. So if you're seeing that certain activities are taking up large amounts of your time, again, if you measure it, then you can master it. You can apply changes to it. You can improve it. You can do something about it, but you have to have that knowledge.
I love that. If you measure it, you can master it.
I love
Yes.
that too.
And I know before we went to air, and forgive me, the article's escaping me, but there was a great article from, is it Frank Strong's
Frank
newsletter?
Strong.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Talking about the dangers of focusing on wrong things to measure, which can affect your outcomes. And this goes for client work and, self-reflection, right? Like you can decide these are the metrics that we should be measuring.
Yeah.
And you find yourself, 3 months later, 6 months later, and you think, yeah, I don't think that was a good choice.
Yes,
So,
and we will definitely link Frank's article in the resource
yeah.
section. One of the things that was really interesting and insightful about that is he looked at a study of B2B marketers in particular and found that companies were measuring things. And so they started to put money and investments and infrastructure around the things that they were measuring, but they were measuring the wrong things. So, for example, if you really are so focused on bringing in new business, so new to you clients, but really your best chance of growth is with retaining the clients that you have and growing that business, but you're not measuring that. So you're
Yeah.
not spending anything on those clients. You're not investing in that system. You're investing in chasing something that's more expensive to get where you don't even have as much of a success rate. And so that was really, really eye opening and is something that can be applied to us. What are we measuring? Are we looking at things that don't really matter to the health and growth of our business? And so we keep putting efforts against those things when they're not really the right things to measure.
Yeah, that's so true. And that was really eye-opening to me and in a way oddly comforting because I think on a gut level, we all know that it's important to create, and I'm going to say community, and I don't mean like, la, we'll just, hang out. But the brands that do well do create a sense of community. And that's all the way from big brands down to mom and pop shops. Because then your current clients, your current customers feel a part of things. And they know that, you're their whatever resource. And tied into that is word of mouth, right? It's like, what do we say? Isn't that the best way to also get new customers is word of mouth? So I think it's good information to really focus on.
I agree. And again, the article, while it focused on the work of an organization, we have our own organizations to manage too. So I do think it's important to have systems set up where we measure the things that we do. I love measuring things like writing and how effective I am and where my sweet spot really is and what things I should really concentrate on, or pitching. It's
Yeah.
there's so many things that you can measure in your media relations efforts to continue to improve that skill set and make sure that your pitches are resonating, that your subject lines are resonating, that you are getting the right response rate. But so often we're just, again, we do the thing and then we kind of move on to the next thing and we don't take time to look at the report of our own efforts.
Yeah, that's so true. And I think a lot of it is just time, setting up that focus time for ourselves because this sounds great.
Yeah.
And then you're gonna hit stop on this podcast episode and you're just gonna go tear into your day, right? That's what we
Yeah.
do. Again, it's in our nature, it's just the nature of our profession to want to take care of everybody else before ourselves. So that's probably gonna be the hardest part of this, is making it a regular practice.
And that's where, your scheduling comes in at and putting in those blocks of time. But here's the great thing once you begin to measure and you look at ways that you can make improvements, that also means that you can not only improve your success rate on the things that you're doing, but you can also improve how you use your time. So then you
Yeah.
gain more time back and then you don't feel so stressed out about things. Sometimes we spend a lot of effort on things that just don't matter.
Yeah.
Um, Tied into this, we'll also put in a resource we'll put a link in the resource to a great article by productivity company Rescue Time that gives some great tips on how to track your own personal peak hours so that you can start to do those tasks that are the hardest in your peak productivity hours and get more done in less time by making use of when you're the most effective. So that's helpful too. And again, that's measuring your time and how you're using your time each day. And they do recommend tracking for, I think, a week or two so that you can then look at the reports and then surface what works for you. So measurement really does, it's important to PR pros beyond measurement for client activity. It really does matter to the health of our business and our own personal well-being as well.
Yeah, that's very true. I think it's definitely one of the foundational aspects of running our solo shops, you know? So let's all pledge to ourselves to try and incorporate this. I'm excited to see that article from Rescue Time, and hey, maybe we'll check in with everybody in about a month and see where we are. Well, if you
Yeah,
have
and
found
we love to hear from our listeners too. So
yeah.
please leave us comments, or talk to us on social media, or feel free to let us know if you have great tips or strategies around this topic. We love to hear from you.
Oh, totally, because, you guys, you know what you're doing. Otherwise, we wouldn't be here. Anyway, well, thanks for bearing with me. Thanks for listening to us this week. We hope you found value in it. And if you did, please share it around. And until next time, thanks for listening to That Solo Life.